So we can talk about individuals, left, right, center, who are or are not anti-Semitic and where that comes from and how they disguise it, or how they don't disguise it. We can even talk about where anti-Semitism comes from historically. But when I believe what fundamentally enables that whole thing is a breaking down of political norms and ways of conduct, right? At the moment, as long as the rules by which everybody is bound, left, right, middle, are enforced and accepted, anti-Semitism may be underlying somewhere in the subconscious of people, but they won't come out and promote it. And when you don't come out and promote it, it won't grow. But we're living in a time right now where these norms and ways how to do and how to deal with things have been broken, both legally, that our government does things who are simply not legally justifiable within the system, or in the way many people express themselves in the political room, including Mr. Trump. And I think that is the underlying danger. The moment we give up these norms and regulations and don't act by them anymore, we give free room for anti-Semitism to grow. And that is a symptom. The moment we allow these rules to slip, anti-Semitism becomes possible or grows, and that shows that our norms are decaying, and that eventually leads to the breakdown of society. And that was Germany in the 1930s, 20s, and so forth. So we should concentrate on what makes these anti-Semitic movements possible on our own inside America political behavior.
Right. You got something, Armin?
Wait, are we doing
Or should
are
I
we
go?
doing rebuttals?
Yeah.
I don't know what anything. I mean, I disagree with certain things that Trump has done, but I don't know what are we talking about that they have done that is legally not justifiable. I mean, I disagree with some of their policies, but I can't pinpoint anything illegal that they have done. And also, how is that related to anti-Semitism? What has their, unless I misunderstood you, like what has the, in fact, we need anti-Semitism is rising because of one, because of mass migration from Islamic countries. Two, because this was already always there and it just needed an excuse to be able to show itself. Anti-Semitism, I mean, I rather call it Jew hatred because anti-Semitism doesn't do a service, like doesn't actually, it's actually pretty weak compared to what it actually is. I don't know what Trump has done that has encouraged more Jew hatred in the world. Yeah. So, hi. Hello. Um, so, but by the way, we're recording this. Is that okay that he's in the recording? It's fine. Okay. All right. Okay.
Andre, do you need a minute to rebuttal this? You each get a minute?
So
Sure.
let's make a very simple thing. The Congress has the power of the purse. The president used a way around that to declare tariffs, which are effectively taxes on the population. So he has weakened the power and undermined the separation of the powers within the United States. That is weakening of the system, right? That is a undermining of the rules to exist. Anti-Semitism, or the execution of anti-Semitism than it is right now by, for example, Islamic groups or by people who are influenced by them, they execute illegal things, and they think it's okay to do so. Well, if the president can circumvent existent law and norms, the power of the purse is at the Congress and not at the president, then that goes to the rest of the population and translates in many different ways, right? When somebody goes, oh, I support Hamas, and nobody follows up on that, because even though it's very clearly the support of a terrorist organization and there are no legal consequences, even though the means for that exist, then this is just mirroring our being silent and not doing anything when our government does the same thing.
All right. Time.
Can I just quickly respond to 10 seconds? Or that's a stretch. That's a huge stretch. First of all, just because it's not the norm, I agree that Congress is becoming weaker in the United States, but it's still nothing illegal. There's a difference between doing something that is not the norm and doing something illegal. That nothing illegal has happened. And saying people are supporting Hamas because Trump is doing tariffs without the permission of Congress is basically connecting dots in a way that I haven't seen before. Even like these are two completely unrelated things that I don't think that there's any good reason for us to connect them with each other.
I think that much of the problem, before you got into this point, Andrea pointed out that you need to find some sort of a root problem. I think that the root problem in this is a multi-layer thing. It's also, I do blame some of those influencers and the power that they have, and I think they abuse it. That's one thing. I think that they are funded by Qatar, by the way. All three of them, Candice, Tucker, and Nick.
Really?
Yes, they sound. Lots of the things that they say fits too well with what the Qataris wants you to know. That's one thing. The other thing is because if in the video that you showed, by the way, if we would watch it a little bit further, he's talking about the Somalis. All of a sudden, Nick cares about racism and about that Trump called out the Somalis who stole $9 billion. But the Jewish lobby, that's the problem. So that's too Qatari for me. And there's lots of things that have this Bitcoin thing. If you look at Qatar, the national football team, the merchandise, the T-shirt, they have Qatari Airwaves and they have Bitcoin. So he shoves it with no reason. Because I'm telling you, the guy is paid. The guy is on their paycheck. The three of them. And it's scary. And one more thing is the generation. The generation in America is very problematic, I think. Maybe it's due to the college system, which is also funded by Qatar. But the generation in America, for example, what he says about housing and all of that. Do you know how much, like, we are not the strongest economy in the world. America is. It's more expensive to live here. Don't sell me your bull crap. If I can make it in Israel, you can make it in America. In America, by flipping burgers in McDonald's, you get paid more than you get paid in Israel for doing the same job. Okay? So when an idiot like Nick Fuentes or all of these guys start talking Nazi, there's one problem that we need to figure out, guys, and after that, poof, magic. Everything will be better. And check what he says, just like Hitler. They will not replace us. He had this, they owe us this, they owe us that, they owe us this. With Nick Fuentes, no, they don't owe you shit. Relax, boy. Sit down. That's what I had.
Wait,
Sorry.
can I do it?
I got excited. Yes, you can.
Okay. By the way, guys, if somebody says something that you disagree with, you could do a rebuttal. And also, I would like to the new people here. If you raise your, I would like you to hear you guys' opinion as well. So it would be good if you raise your hand.
10-second rebuttal. Like literally 10 seconds.
Okay, go on. You go first.
I agree with almost everything he said, with one exception. People tend to think that like when someone's clearly trying to like parrot, talking points that a group wants, that they're probably being paid. Not necessarily. Sometimes people like will parrot talking points for like all sorts of reasons, like validation or just,
Right. Yeah, I don't think we could know that Nick Fuentes is being paid for Qatar unless there's actual evidence
could be
for it.
parroting Qatar talking points for other like reasons that aren't money.
I mean, I don't know if it's Qatari talking points. I mean, people on this have a lot of shared views in that. Like, I haven't seen, for example, Tucker Carlson says positive things about Qatar all the time. Nick Fuentes doesn't do that. So, I mean,
because
I'm not saying
he was a racist 4 minutes ago. Wait, give him time.
But I think like unless there's evidence, we shouldn't be making these claims unless there's
evidence. I've actually been following Nick for many years.
Why would you defend the Somalis? He's the most racist son of a bitch I've ever seen.
Qatar doesn't support Somalis. Like Qatar doesn't give a shit about the Somalis in America.
I'm sure he would support Somali immigration in the U.S.
They want to disturb the silence. They want to break the status quo. They want to make groups that look strong break apart and fight between them to the end and forget about all the other groups, only between their own tribe.
They want
That's what
hegemony.
they love.
But Nick Fuentes, I mean, I've listened to Nick Fuentes a lot. He's not like pro Somali. He thinks that the main group that we need to be against is the Jews, and then after that we need to be against the Arabs or the Somalis or the Mexicans. I mean, he's Mexican, or whoever else. But he just has his priorities. He thinks Jews first. He's not like pro Somali. But anyways, let's go to the other thing.
I didn't actually say that he's pro-Somali. I don't want to elaborate too much, but my point was that it fits too well with the lefty immigration, let's ruin America theme that is fit with the Muslim Brotherhood. That's what I meant.
But he's very anti-immigration. He's extremely anti-immigration.
Oh yeah, he is. That's why he just crucified Trump for 30 minutes about bad job at immigration, that he was actually good. Why would he do that?
Well, yeah. Well, his point is that we need more deportation. That's his point.
That's it. That's the okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to drag it, but we can maybe after. Mossad, the floor is yours.
So what he's saying, and then I'll to the other point. I've been following Nick on and off for years. Like I mentioned before, I've seen his first big appearance where he turned up with a little sword on the stream and he was waving it as he was making his argument. I think he was like 19 or 20 back then. I don't know, something like that. And I don't think he's paid directly by Qatar. I wanted to say, though, that if you look at Pachepa wrote a lot about how the KGB and the Romanian security police, or whatever they were called, how they worked. And a lot of the time they would pay people without those people knowing. Like if some organization thought Armin was amazing and doing something that they like, they could just add a few fake subscribers to his Patreon or whatever other way, or they can buy some merchandise. You know, it's very easy to help someone without them knowing. And there are rumors on the Israeli right that in the 80s, the Soviets were subsidizing the Peace Now movement as part of the attempt to defeat the Israeli army in Lebanon. In the end, the Soviets lost. We destroyed all the S-300s and they were humiliated. When people ask what Israel does for America, I think you need a list. Look, this is what they've done. And I don't want to bore you because the list, I've got like 80 more items on this list, but here are a few. You know, that should be the attitude because there's lots of stuff that Israel has done for America. I compiled the list once because we did a stream about it years ago. I can look for it. I mean, and there's many more things that I didn't even know about. I found out later. Now, just a funny story. The Hebrew Israelites, that was started by a white conman, the whole religion. It was started by, if you're interested in it, check on YouTube. There's a whole documentary about him. I think I mentioned it before. He used to go from city to city. He came from New Zealand. He used to go from city to city, marry a woman, drain her of all her money, cheat everyone around her, and leave to the next city and do the same thing. And then he hit the jackpot, you know, which was the Hebrew Israelite. And he thought black people were very stupid and it'd be very easy to fool them, which is what he did.
30 seconds.
Okay, oh, I've got a few. I was waiting. So Trump is a danger. I think people who explode or shoot people or stab people that are roaming Europe at the moment are more dangerous than Trump. I think Trump is a reaction to the over lefty liberal change in society, and we're now seeing a reaction. And the longer it goes on, the worse the reaction would be. So the more we insist on all these LGBTQ rights and all these things, the worse it's going to be. The more we say that immigrants are wonderful, the worse the reaction is going to get. If I don't have more time, I'll save it for later, the rest.
Thank you. I'm adding you right now. Don't raise your hand.
Just a 2-second response. Immigrants can be wonderful if you do the filtering properly. Just like we're not anti.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
And the numbers is also a fact.
All right, Hila, you had something.
Yeah, I wanted to say that it's like the horseshoe theory, but it's not a horseshoe, it's an umbrella. Right now, Nick is trying to passed Trump from the right. But because he went so right, he's on the left, trying to kick him from the left, saying that this is right. All of this stuff come together for me as the shock doctrine. And it's something the left were talking a lot about when Trump was elected the first time. I think democracy right now, it's not like a horseshoe, it's like an umbrella. In the middle, we have right, left, and in the edges, we have the dictatorship or kakistocratia or all kinds of weird forms that are not good for the society. But then the extreme people, they're trying to do the shock doctrine back at the democracy again. And they are doing it from the edges, and all the edges, from all the political edges and hate, are bubbling together as a soup in the edges of the umbrella, trying to make it bigger. But you cannot pull it and make it bigger because you're getting away from democracy and your own values and your own goals, and you get confused with all these emotions and clickbites and feelings and excitement, and it's just getting to this point where this umbrella is going to break, and this is the fabric of our society. And if these people will not be educated at school about this stuff, about how history repeats itself, and they're doomed to this endless scrolling of radical ideas. I don't know how to fight it, but
That's it. Thank you.
yeah, what do you think about the umbrella? Does it make
I
sense
think
to you more than the horse?
I think it's a parabola.
Yeah,
You
it
just
should
need to
work like
stretch
that,
it.
yes. I saw someone analyze political actually in a very similar way, where there is a center of people who are generally conservative and just want to tweak the system. And as you move away from the center, people are more and more revolutionary and want to tear it up.
Yep. I actually
I
agree. I
think it
think the
can
main
be
thing we need to worry
revolution
about is the
in
revolution.
building stuff, but the point of taking
We are
revolution
two
into destroying,
Israelis. We are
it's
two. Yeah. Sorry. Finish.
We should go to the next people, I think.
Yeah.
Let's
I
go
was
to
I was gonna do that, but if she has a point that she wants to wrap up before we move on, so now is
It's
the time.
okay.
Okay. So Oscar. Oscar.
Oscar.
Hombre. He's not here. Oh, he is here. Something is bad with it. Okay.
Yeah, he
Armin.
can't answer.
Armin, you go.
Yeah, okay. So 2 points. Okay, so I know this is not going to be popular saying here, okay? Because we hate Nick's ideas, okay? But I'm going to get thumbs downs for this. I know it, okay? But even though Nick has really horrible, shitty ideas, again, Torah already doesn't even wait for me to say it. He's giving me a thumb down. Even though Nick has some Nick Fuentes has some really shitty ideas, I do believe he's an honest person, and that makes him more dangerous. And dismissing and calling him dishonest and a grifter makes him look like a weaker enemy than he is, and is basically underestimating our enemy here. This is a man that lost, I think it's too simplistic to call him a grifter, because we're looking at him now and he's making a lot of money from his work. But he was doing all of this when he was losing everything, and then he continued to do it. He continued to do it when his life was in danger. All right, he was losing, he continued to do this when he was on no flight list. He couldn't travel. They closed down. He didn't just get censored off of social media. They closed his bank accounts. Like, he couldn't bank, and then he was continuing to do this, right? So anybody who calling him a grifter is only looking at his recent success financially. But the fact that he kept on doing it, knowing, like, when he started doing all of this, he knew what is going to happen to him. So I think we have a true believer here. I think we have somebody that actually genuinely believes the things that he's saying, And also, I've been watching, like, I don't think he's getting paid from anywhere because he's very honest with his audience. For example, if he's getting paid, he's going to tell his audience where he's making his money from. And he's not shy with his audience telling him where his money is coming from. So, for example, he was on his live stream, he was trying to talk to his audience whether he should accept a gold coin sponsorship, if that's okay to do. So, because he doesn't want to do a sponsorship of things that would make his message bias towards any direction. And he told his audience
Final
that
point.
they given me an offer of $1 million to sell gold coins. And he said, I think gold should be fine because everybody buys gold. So it's not like I'm selling people something that is a scam. And he was asking his audience permission to make more money by promoting gold in his show. And I think that's what we're dealing here. And I don't think he's a grifter. And I think if he makes money from anywhere else, he's going to tell his audience.
Okay, so I wanted to say about Nick, he's a believer. He's inconsistent, but he's a believer, and he believes in hating Jews. So that is always a guiding line for him. So if anything is good for Israel or for the Jews, it must be bad, and he works out why it's bad. So at the moment, the Jews are, in his view, attacking the poor Muslims. So that's why you see people like Tucker and him and others defending Muslims because they're poor Muslims, right? Because we are about to kill all 2 billion Muslims or something. So, but he's a believer. He's a believer, and he enjoys being a contrarian. And he found a niche where people give him a lot of credit whenever he's being a contrarian. I can't say that word. He's enjoying himself as well. You can tell he's enjoying himself. He's having a lot of fun. Now, in terms of all this, what Andre was saying, these international norms and ways of behavior, well, these international norms and ways of behavior have been an opportunity for people that lean against religious people and against conservative people to form alliances and nudge the system against the direction that conservatives would want. Even when there are conservatives in power, the systems around them don't allow conservative progress, at least the way the conservatives see it. So what we're seeing now is, because I mentioned this before, the left, or whatever we want to call it, this wokeism has gone so far, we're seeing a reaction to it. And they're looking for someone to blame. And when you look for someone to blame, there's always Jews, whatever you want to find,
Final
any,
point.
there's always Jews there. So it's very easy to blame Jews. That's it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. So
I rebuttal that since you named me.
what?
May I rebuttal what he said because he named me specific.
Yeah. Why don't we, let's do this because I wanted to give a rebuttal to Armin actually. Let me go. I'll let you go, and we move on. Let's just call it a round of opinions, and look, because I don't want us to start arguing over this specific. Is Nick honest? No, I don't think he's honest. I think because I caught him in lies. I mean, I caught him lying about numbers, about statistics, about. I'm a strong believer that if I catch you lie 1, 2, 3 times, I shouldn't take seriously what you are saying because you are a liar. I don't have, beyond the episode that we watched, I don't have any more arguments of when did he lie, but I caught him lying a lot. And I don't think he's honest. The fact that he might be driven not out of pure greed, but out of other maybe motives, maybe. Does it make him more dangerous? Maybe. But he's not honest. He's a liar. That's what I think. Maybe
Wait,
I'm
can
wrong.
you give an example of his lies?
Just this episode, he lied about the numbers of people who are deported or
He
not
might
deported by
believe
Trump.
those numbers. Being wrong
Yeah, I
doesn't mean
think he
you're
believes.
lying.
What do you mean? He said that he deported one Garcia. We counted 1,900,000. That is a pretty far gap.
No. His point over there was like, they made such a big deal about one person. He wasn't saying that they only deported
And
one
they
person.
didn't deport, and they didn't deport the people. They went to the ICE
He said
facility.
the
It was
deportation
empty.
numbers were low, but his point was not that they only deported one person. It was like this one guy that got deported and he got returned. Like, look, like can deport that one person properly? He wasn't making a suggestion that that was the only person that they deported.
Sure. The fact that the Jewish lobby is bigger than any other lobby in the US. It's an easy check. You can check it in a moment. It is so stupid.
He believed it.
Yeah, they're
I
stupid.
don't think he's
Don't
so,
think
so
that-
He
dumb.
says the figures are a lie. The numbers, what you can check it where on, what is your
I don't
how
think
did
he's so backward.
I'm telling you, I've been following these people for a long time. I'm not thinking because I saw one episode. I've seen many, many, many hours.
Okay.
You mind? I'm just
The blood pressure. Those conversations about these fuckers. Okay, now we have Albi. Is new. Say hello, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
hello.
Oh, I promised.
Okay.
So we have Andre. Please, Andre.
A simple thing of illegal actions by the current government are the killings in the Caribbean Sea. He haven't declared a war, so he has again weakened the power of the Congress, who are the only ones who can declare war. Second, he kills people who are criminals for crimes for which there is no capital punishment in the United States. He executes extrajudicial killings. That's illegal by US law. So that's a very clear legal violation of the current government. So that's number one. Number two, anti-Semitism is not a privilege executed by the left-wing ideology, but by the right wing. So it's independent from both of them. If both sides start to develop these kind of actions, there must be another reason than just certain people or certain ideas. There must be an underlying reason who frees these kind of thoughts and actions who lead to murder of Jews. And it would be interesting for us to find out what are these underlying reasons and see what we can do about them.
Do you want to jump on that, Armin?
Actually, the killing of the drug traffickers in the Caribbean Sea, whether or not that's illegal, has been disputed. We have heard legal experts talk about that. I mean, I would be more than happy to accept it was illegal once that's settled. But right now, that is not as clear cut as you're making it sound to be. I've seen people who are experts in this field argue both sides of this, so I have to wait and see, and I'll just see what the experts have to say. But again, that has nothing to do with that. Like, I think it's a bizarre argument to say, oh, anti-Semitism is increasing in America because Trump is killing drug traffickers in the Caribbean Sea. Like, that is like an odd connection.
That's not what I said.
Please.
That's not what I said. First of all, we
That's
have video and
no. That's
statements
hold
from
on,
the
hold on.
government themselves.
You did that is
One
what you
moment.
said. You said Trump, by doing illegal things, he's normalizing other people doing stuff like, I don't know, endorsing Hamas. That is exactly what you said earlier. So this connection doesn't make any sense.
Please don't misinterpret me there. So
So
first
I'm
of all,
not.
you
So
said Trump did
clarify
not
for a
do
second.
something
Clarify.
illegal. So first of all, what I say is, if you undermine the rule of law and the existing norms, you open the door for example, anti-Semitism, racism.
Oh, there you go.
You need to argue for it.
But
You can't leave
So
it.
that's exactly the point that you're making. I'm not misrepresenting you.
you're disputing the obvious. If it is illegal or against the norm to be anti-Semitic, and I remove these norms, then it's logical that these things will grow.
And that is not saying something is obvious is not an argument.
Number one, you say that you question the illegal actions of the United States or the Caribbean Sea. The American government has clearly said that they do that. They have shown you video about that. Denying that right now is intellectually dishonest. So that I can really not accept. Right?
What's
Okay.
intellectually honest is to appeal to the correct authority on this matter instead of making legal claims when I'm not a legal expert. That is what the intellectual honest thing to do is.
Armin, you are right
Let's
now.
move on. Gentlemen,
Okay,
gentlemen,
and
gentlemen, this
That's
little
my,
debate is over, and
that's
we
my
will.
microphone working now?
Yes, yes. Why don't you start, Albi?
Okay, that's good. Hello, everybody. I'm from Italy, so I don't know if anyone else is from Italy here or no. Okay. Is the most people American or Israeli, or because it's my first time, and I also missed the first 10 minutes of the conversation, so I'm not really sure what the subject, the main subject.
We're all over. So we have Iranian, Canadian, Israeli, British here,
Great.
American. We have everywhere. Yeah.
So that's good because
Everything.
I noticed that the conversation is very, very focused on American discussions, opinions, media, and so I can really contribute to that. Anti-Semitism in Italy has different situations, sources, and so I was mostly listening today to learn something because I actually didn't know much about Nick Fuentes. My main question to you is, out of I don't know that, so I'm asking you if these people like Nick Fuentes really, apart from talking, like saying things, do they do something? Because like in Italy we have two, like for instance, the president of the republic in Italy is a Catholic, a very strong Catholic, and he blamed Israel for killing children, things like that. And then we have, but he's the president of the republic. I mean, he does things and then he talks. So and other figures, similar situation, they do things and also they are anti-Semitic. I was wondering if these people like Nick Fuentes and similar, like Tucker Carlson, do they do things apart from talking? That's my question for you, because I don't know that.
Well, that's Asi's point, because Asi thinks them talking will eventually lead to harmful action. So
I don't know.
Asi is trying
Surely.
to,
Sure.
yeah. But right now, these people just talk. They don't do anything other than talking. A lot of people are making a connection to a lot of harmful behavior and the poison that they're spreading.
Yeah. If I read recently Philip Roth, a book by Philip Roth, and it focused on Lindbergh, and also there was, I think, some reference to Ford. They were like very, very strong anti-Semitic people and very, very influential. But they, of course, one of them was like, I don't know the English word, but Lindbergh was, he didn't just talk, and Ford, we know who he is, and so that's what strikes me now. Like these people are just talking. This is very dangerous. They don't do things. They don't check. There is not any reality check with them. Like they just talk. They just think all the time. Think, elaborate opinions, and tell them. But there's no reality check. This is what scares me.
All right. Thank you, Albi. Yeah, it's crazy times. Nail Bunny, one of my favorites. Nail Bunny?
I don't think I raised my hand, but I did want to talk, so I'll just go ahead and take it. In answer, I just want to reply actually to Mossad that you were talking about people being anti-woke and that Jews would be caught up in that. And my belief is that any ethnic group is not a monolith. So of course that's going to happen. It'd be fairly bigoted to think that every Jew is going to have the exact same politics, or they're all going to be woke, or they're all going to be not woke. So that just makes perfect sense. Asti, I completely agree with you. I do think they're all funded. I think that they are funded to sow division, that they're arguing with each other. Bullshit. That they're just there. It's theater so that everything gets fractured, so that nobody is united in one group, because then they have power. You take one side and you shatter it, and you take another side and you completely shatter it as well. And the only people that would want to do that are foreign governments. I think that the first step in sowing the division was making all the Western countries hate their cultures, or make it unpleasant or unattractive or bigoted and horrible to say, I love being British or waving an American flag. It's setting everybody up. It's setting all of these countries up so that they basically invade without an army because they don't have an army. So they want to invade somehow. I don't agree with him on everything, but I do think he makes some really good points. He had a video recently called, I think this timeline is fucked. He was reviewing a video of a video, and it was from a woman that has a channel called The Second Story. And she's basically talking about writing. And some of the stats that she was sharing were absolutely terrifying. She was basically talking about America and going through how people are not being taught how to read. They're being taught how to memorize a word. And then they're also expected to be talking about how they feel about the word. It was scary as hell, to the point that there are actually students that are entering university who have not read a book and are surprised to find out that they're going to be expected to read entire books. So, yeah, that's a really good example of the long march through the institutions. That's on purpose. That's to dumb everybody down. I think
Right.
TikTok's a really good example as well. TikTok in China is all about learning new things, and and TikTok in America and everywhere else outside of China is garbage. So, yeah, it's yeah, definitely on purpose.
Can I
Sending
do a
people
quick
money.
rebuttal?
1 minute, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so Nilbert, like, is I completely agree with you that these foreign powers are trying to use soft power to get in, because when it comes to military superiority, they have lost that battle, and there's no way that they could match Western countries, and that's how they're trying to get in. I see that trend, and I see that new model of invasion. So I completely agree with that's a thing from all the examples that you mentioned. But is it not possible that while that's happening, that Nick Fuentes is just believes the shit that he's saying? Like, do you know that he doesn't believe that? Like, is it not possible? Does that make it? But what you're saying, does that mean that there's zero believers in this movement? That everybody is just a grifter?
Well, I
If
mean,
you
if
want
there's one person that maybe isn't funded by Qatar, China, or both, it would be Nick Fuentes, because I think that he hates his audience. He doesn't love them. He hates them. He thinks they're scum. And he's just a total grifter. Do I think he believes the shit he says? No. I think that he's just laughing at everybody. And I mean, he has a smile on his face the entire time. It isn't as if he's, it's fairly transparent.
That makes
He's
him
not
more honest,
smiling.
though. That makes him more honest, because
Yeah,
to
because he's
me,
smiling.
to me, that he's so honest that he doesn't even tell his, like, he's so honest that when he gets giant super chats, if it's a stupid super chat, he calls them out as stupid, and he doesn't give a shit that he just got it like a huge sum of money. Because I'm
Well,
honest. That's one of my point, because he's honest, and I'm trying to be honest. That's the point.
His audience, I think, likes the abuse.
Yeah,
it's,
they do. I know
my
they
my
do.
point was it's part of the work in the internet sphere. I think it's part of the job.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything.
I'm not going to say.
All
Let's
right.
just move on.
So we have Joseph.
Okay, I'm going to back up here because there was something that was said about what's going on right now currently in the Caribbean. Trump is actually operating legally. There's the two specific laws are the Maritime Drug Law Enforcement Act of 1986, which gave the Navy and the Coast Guard authority to board, seize, and prosecute drug vessels on the high seas, even if they fly no flag. Then you have the Drug Trafficking Vessel Interdiction Act, which targeted semi-submersibles, also known as narco subs, and expanded the rules of engagement and expanded the use of force against them. On the international side, the actual international law involved is the UN Conventions on Law of the Sea, because drug traffickers under the UNCLOS they are hosti humani generis. This is just Latin for enemies of all mankind. Now, if you want to get to the tanker capture, that has to do with the legal justification being the violating of sanctions against Iran and Venezuela, targeting shadow fleet of ships moving illicit oil to final terrorism, the Maduro regime, and they're using court seizure documents and claiming the vessels are stateless or flying false flags, which allows boarding under international law as part of the escalating pressure campaign. I know that in the US media right now, a lot of people say, well, these are illegal. They're doing the double tap. The double tap is actually standard, what would fall under laws of armed conflict, because just because somebody's crawling up on a boat doesn't mean they're not dangerous.
So, two people clinging onto some wreckage in the middle of the oceans are dangerous?
People, the cargo. The cargo is dangerous.
Well, it's not just that the cargo is dangerous. One of the things that happens is we see this in warfare, and then under the law of armed conflict, just because they're not a immediate danger doesn't mean they're not a danger. If they were to go to rescue those guys and they shot, and one of those guys shot somebody, we see this, and I'm going to go over to Ukraine because they actually hit.
Try not to, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. But the point is that what Trump is doing in the Caribbean under U.S. law and international law is legal. It's the problem is if we get with the U.S., the second you're 200 miles out, you're on international, you're outside of U.S. law, and the book is totally different in international waters.